Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we've got a 2011 Toyota Prius. It's got a flashy tire light on it. Now, unfortunately for this customer, the light was on and it was flashing prior to anything. They went and had 4 tires installed because we don't do tires here. And then they came back here for some other stuff. They had mentioned the tire light was on before. I said, well, that's too bad. If I had known that the tire light was flashing before, I would have told you to have them throw sensors in it to begin with while they were doing the tires, and then I would just program them afterwards. But it is what it is. The customer has opted to do all 4 because we replaced one about a year ago. It is currently 14 years old. Generally speaking, you only get about 10 years or so out of them. So we're going to start off with a clean slate and just do all 4 of them. So let's get into it. So here's our code. It is for number 2. Let's go take a peek at the data real quick before we get started with this thing. So here we've got our custom data list. I got the tire pressures pulled up for 1 through 4. 1, 3, and 4 are working. 2 is our suspect one that we have a code for. We got nothing there. So we're going to be looking for, it doesn't really matter. We're replacing all of them anyway, but this 6E0 is the one that we're going to be looking for. Oh, there's 2 6E0s. The 56 whatever 6E0, that's the one that we're going to be looking for that we know is bad. So anyway, we've explained how to do this in a different video. I'll stick a link to it just in case you want to try to find how to do it. There's a couple of ways to do that. But anyway, let's get started with doing these tires. All right, so we got one of the tires off. We'll go ahead and get it kind of positioned here in our bead breaker. Pull our valve stem out of it. Reposition it so it's right there by our valve stem. The ferrule nut is an 11 millimeter. I'm going to grab the new one. So here is our part number that we're going to be replacing it with. When you get a Toyota sensor or a pre-programmed, you're going to want to write down these numbers right here before you install it. I mean, you don't have to. You can go get it later, but now's as good a time as any to write that number down. We'll go ahead and get the new one in. Shoot a little bit of, I would call it soapy water, but you guys can see my face, so this is just regular soapy water. And it's just that easy. So let me knock this out with the other three, and then we'll get back to you and we'll do the programming, and then we'll be done with this one. All right, so we got everything taken care of in the car. Back on the car, now we'll program our sensors. I have got my sensors written down. We'll go into special function, ID registration, okay. Main set, okay, okay. All right, so now we'll run back into data stream. It's still got our previous pulled up. Double check and make sure that it's got the right ones. Those appear to be right. They're slowly coming online. Number 2 was our faulty one before, so we'll give it a couple minutes here, let it start registering with the car, and then I'll pan you over to the flashy tire light. It should be out by then. All right, so now all of our numbers are reading. Our tire light is out, and this one is done. All right, guys, well, that's going to wrap this one up. So I actually had a couple of stupid moments during this one. One of them was not my fault. One of them, we had a bad sensor right out of the box, which shame on me. I should have checked them to make sure they were working before I installed them in the tires, but it is what it is. I ended up getting that straightened out. I had to go back and redo that one. Not a big deal. The other stupid thing that I did was I wrote the wrong ID number down on one of those sensors. So after I went and wrote all my numbers down, programmed it into the scan tool, I still got one that wasn't reading. Then I went around with the activation tool, and they were all reading, so I checked those numbers, and I realized that I wrote one of my numbers down wrong, so then I had to go do it a third time before it finally worked. So learn from all those mistakes. This job is really not hard. I made 2 mistakes that cost me a fair bit of time, but ultimately I was still only in this thing for about an hour and a half, so it's not all that big a deal. Parts and labor breakdown. The parts, you can get them from all over the place. We got Toyota sensors. They run you about $100 a piece. You can get them cheaper if you want to. Just do some research on what you need to make those work. Some sensors are proprietary to a specific activation tool. So like Alltel sensors will only work with Alltel activation tool. X-Tool sensors will only work with X-Tool programming tool. So some of them come blank where you need to program everything about the car into it. Some of them come pre-programmed, in which case all you need is a scan tool for the car. Again, we talked about a lot more in depth about how this stuff works in a previous video that we linked in this one. So if you have any more questions about that, go check that out. The bead breaker is really all you need, and that's really the hardest part about this job. We picked that up at Harbor Freight for like $80, I think. I'm sure you can get cheaper ones, but that one works well. It's small, it's out of the way. I have used a press before to break the beads, and I've also just broken them manually, but that's a lot of elbow work, and I'm getting too old to do that anymore. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap the video up for today. Hopefully we earned a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.